we want to quickly detail what we will be covering under this course, this research analysis course. We want to look at what we'll be covering under it. And like we know that there's a step-by-step approach to implementing and analyzing Likert scale questionnaire, and we want to look at the course content under this particular course. So I just quickly go through them briefly. What will be course covering? The first thing is just to look at introduction, which covers the research title. Yeah, we will be developing a title for the research, right? And also the problem statement for this particular research will be developing the problem statement for this research with a online assisted report. We'll also be looking at research questions. What are the questions we'll be handling? Then we also look at the research objectives. Okay, objectives of the research. So we'll look at them one after the other, so that we can go through them in pipeline. And we also look at the conceptual framework. We are going to design the framework for the research, and then we look at the hypothesis, the first, the second, the third, and the fourth hypothesis. We look at the four of them, right? Likewise, we also look at the research methodology, research design of this particular. So looking at the survey methodology, data collection procedures, and we also look at measurement instruments such as a variable operationalization, the Likert scale itself, reliability coefficient, using the Cronbach's alpha. We also look at the data coding and labeling, how data is coded and labeled, both the profiling and also the Likert scale. So these are so we also go further and look at the data analysis. Okay, data analysis, we look at data preparation and cleansing, and this data importing to Python, missing value treatment or handling, variable recording, composite score calculation, and then we also look at reliability analysis, where we look at the scale reliability testing using Cronbach alpha for all constructs. We also look at discrete analysis, where we look at overview of main variables, including mean, standard deviations, and distributions of our data using charts. We also look at the demographic profile of respondents using plots and visualizations. In this case, we look at a comprehensive analysis of sample characteristics, including gender, age, education, experience, income rate, income, race, and marital status. Look at all those things we have there. So we also look at the hypothesis testing. Hypothesis one, this with trainer development versus firm performance. We looking at a Pearson correlation. Okay, this one talking about how we handle price correlation to analyze to test relationship between training and firm development. Also look at a second hypothesis motivation versus firm performance, and they also look at the third one, leadership style for firm performance, and lastly look at a fourth one, combining HRM practices and firm performance together using multiple regression analysis. We also look at demographic differences in firm performance using ANOVA and t-test. So that will help us a lot to look at how things work properly, because that's where you're able to examine how firm performance vary across demographic groups. All right. So we also look at a discussion of findings, which means that we are going to interpreting our hypothesis result. Right. So comprehensive analysis of our 4 hypothesis testing outcomes. Look at them. We look at statistic findings. What are the things we find? The summary of significant relationship, effect size, and exploratory power of our findings. We also look at demographic insights. Okay, we look at which is analysis of how respondent characteristics influence perceptions and outcomes. So we finally conclude and recommend by looking at the research conclusions, which means summary of main findings and theoretical contributions, and also managerial implications and recommendations, which is a practical recommendation for HRM managers and organizational leaders. So all this one we are going to cover on